Welcome to the Late Night Race Review. Floods in China as Zhou brought to tears post-race. Lance hits the brakes, but not before seeing what Danny Rick had for lunch. Lando castrates the bull as he shows Perez what pace is. And Max won again. Ugh. It's the Chinese GP. As always, we wrap things up with a look at our predictions game. And don't forget to support the podcast by hitting those like, follow, and subscribe buttons. Welcome back to the Late Night Race Review. I'm Owen Scott, and with me, as always, is Dave Jericho and where's Isidro today?
No, we're not hanging about for this shit.
Didn't even show. Well, we'll plough on without him, Dave. And in a weekend that saw more penalties than Man United versus Coventry, we'll kick off with the topic that is setting the F1 news sites ablaze this morning, Dave. How big of a gobshite is Lance Stroll? On a scale of 1 to 10, give me your initial thoughts, Dave.
Well, his gobshite dial went up to 11 because he should have been in with a shout of getting some good points this weekend. Yeah. But I have to say though, him and K-Mag on the naughty step at the back of the pack after obviously Stroll ended up back there from shunting DanielRicciardo, and K-Mag ended up back there after ploughing into Tsunoda. The two of them gave us probably one of the best battles on the track, like the most sustained battle on the track for the whole weekend. So even though, he was a gobshite, they gave us one of the best kind of highlights of the weekend, I think, from racing. Yeah,
he drops in and out of. I like him one week, and then I don't like him. Stroll, I don't like him another week. It's just how he responds to things. I don't know what it is. He's a decent driver, but sometimes he just takes the finger off the pulse.
I think as well that the opinion turned a bit when, do you remember, I can't remember what happened, and he shoved his what was it, his physio or something like that. I can't remember who it was. He shoved and you were just like, ugh. Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of gross.
It was a bit of an insight into it was like that. It was very much this is daddy's team, like, real spoiled child. Don't tell me, it was just, I don't know, it just had that feel about it. But anyway.
Yeah, and DanielRicciardo's response to it was, fuck that guy, apparently, is what he says.
I think that's probably going to be most people's response to that, and half of Australia's response to it.
He says that, this is what Stroll was saying, this idiot just slammed the brake on, and Ricciardo coming back to him and saying, I slowly started to calm down when I was told that Lance thinks about the incident, but apparently I'm the idiot and I was at fault. So that makes my blood boil because it's clear as day. It's behind the safety car. Fuck that idiot. And what's your thoughts on the crash?
You know what? Like I only just watched it again as well, like to see what happened. Now, I think it's just unfortunate. Stroll did go into the back of Ricciardo. Like, there's no fucking two ways about it. And yeah, it was behind the safety car, so Stroll should have been further back. Granted, though, having said that, there was a lockup ahead. I think it was Piastri, maybe.
Alonso, I think it was, actually.
Oh, Alonso, and then that caused the accordion effect. Yeah. So you could also say Ricciardo was possibly too close to Piastri to respond, because, I mean, he was right on. I don't know whether if Stroll hadn't rear-ended Ricciardo, I'm not so sure that DanielRicciardo might not have touched the back of Piastri's car anyway. Like, yeah. So I but largely, it was Stroll's fault for he causing it as or making such a big collision out of it.
Just a little bit too fast. I think he needs to tread with caution because his dad owns that team. He needs to be super careful about how he does things on the track. He can never crash because straight away everyone's like, oh, look, daddy's team. Oh,
yeah, he can do whatever he wants. Like, paint the car pink. No one gives a fuck.
Right, let's tip off at the start.
Before we do, I wanted to talk about the commentary on because it was something I noticed this weekend, right?
Yeah.
So you know the way we were all talking, and I'm going to very much try and not go off on a big long-winded tangent here, which I'm already doing, explaining my long-winded tangent.
Yeah.
But one thing I noticed this weekend was the races are shit, like, and we know that, right? And last season was a bit shit. This season's shit.
Yeah.
But do you know what I find? And I wonder what the commentary is like in other countries, like in America, Netherlands. Obviously, we pick up the UK commentary where we are.
Yeah.
because I find today this weekend we had it was Nico Rosberg instead of Martin Brundle was doing the commentary with Crofty.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it it was refreshing because every time Crofty kind of was spouting his usual bullshit, Rosberg was kind of real quick and dry, just kind of going, "What are you talking about?" Like, I don't agree with that at all. Like, he's just very to the point. And I was like, there's Nico just calling it as it is. Like, he wasn't doing what Brundle and Crofty do together, which is, oh, this is going to be an amazing battle at the end of the race, or let's wait another 40 laps and see how this turns out. Like, and we're all kind of, just waiting around for something to happen. Whereas Nico was just calling it as it was happening. Yeah. And I found the commentary was much better. And I just have a feeling a lot of my gripe is actually coming from the commentary trying to tell us that, okay, there's nothing going on at the moment. So the commentators have to try and sell it to us as viewers that this is an entertaining sport. So they're trying to tell us, oh, this is going to happen at the end. Stick around, And it's
last 10 laps.
But it's like it's on repeat, isn't it? It's like every race they say, oh, stick around to the end. You don't want to miss this. Like, and it's like clickbait almost. Like, so I think that's. Yeah, anyway, that's my little rant. I think Nico Rosberg should stick around and fucking put Crofty in his place.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I thought that he was brilliant in there. As you say, he's just calling what he sees and calling it without any sort of bias. I always find that the Sky commentary is, it's Lewis Hamilton channel sometimes or George Russell, very pro
British drivers. Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Which is grand or whatever. I know we're watching it.
Oh, I get it. It's the same in football and stuff. The British broadcasters are going to be all about England and World Cups and stuff like that. I get it.
But I wonder if I'd love to be able to know how to speak Italian and watch, say, the Italian coverage of the Formula One and listen to how.
You'd be listening probably to fucking them talking about fucking Ferraris all day.
How they spin that every week. Oh, the pit crew were so unfortunate about how unfortunate they were today. It's just all unfortunate.
Those cheating Red Bulls.
So Nico Rosberg to stay. Sky, we're going to tag you in all of our socials this week and try and get that.
I love Martin Brundle. I think Martin Brundle's brilliant, and his grid walks are brilliant. And he used to do what Nico Rosberg did today or at the weekend. But now he just seems to, him and Crofty have sort of formed into one opinion now in commentary, like, whereas before they weren't. They used to kind of go up against each other a little bit in the commentary, differing opinions and stuff, but it's very much now very streamlined into the same opinion. So yeah, it's a breath of fresh air having Nico Rosberg on there, just cut and dry. Even when he didn't know, sometimes he said a comment off the cuff and had nothing to back it up with. And Crofty called him on it. You could tell there was almost like a little bit of, do these guys actually not like each other? Because they were really trying to hang each other out a few times on the commentary. And I was like, that's fucking great. I love it.
It is brilliant. Yeah, it was really, really good to see. Hopefully they keep that going. Right, let's go from the top and make our way through.
Forget about Max Verstappen. Moving on.
I was just going to say, there was a little bit of a hope for a few seconds. Was it the sprint race? Lando was P1 on the sprint race, and there was some hope of something happening, but it just went away, didn't it? Like, it's, again, inevitable. Max, let's just and it's harsh on him because he's such a dominant force, but no one can talk about him because he's just too dominant.
Yeah, I mean, it gets boring. How often do you want to hear someone say how amazing someone is? Like, we get it. Like, there's no point in us. Like, nobody, by not talking about him, you're not being disrespectful. You're not saying he's a shit driver. You're just like, there's only so many ways you can say how great the Red Bull Max Verstappen combination is. So, he won, brilliant. Another win under the belt for them. Another trophy in the cabinet. But Lando Norris in the sprint race, I'll be on realistically, like, I don't think he was going to hold out anyway. I think, I mean, Max Verstappen coming from fourth. I mean, in theory, you could have. I mean, he had a shocking start though. Like when he tried to go around the outside of Hamilton. Yeah. I think he should have been a bit more aggressive and tucked in a bit more to Hamilton, but he ended up going out onto the kind of the dusty kind of side of the track or edge of the track and ended up kind of going off. But like Hamilton as well. Like, I mean, he wasn't going to hold that position in that tractor of a car he's driving. Like, you know, they got fortunate with the weather conditions. I know it's a track that Hamilton favors and stuff like that, but it was always going to be Max Verstappen, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. As you said, it's P2 down, and Lando in P2. He said he shocked himself. He said that it was going to be a damage limitation weekend. Andreas Seidel was saying, and Lando then coming out and saying they didn't predict this at all. But absolutely phenomenal from Lando this weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was. I mean, you've got what, P6 or something in the sprint. Actually, just had to check the results there. P6 in the sprint. So I think that should have been better. I mean, that was his own fault. But still, brilliant qualifying. Made the mistake at the start. I mean, look, even the greatest drivers make mistakes. Apparently not Max Verstappen, but even the greatest drivers make mistakes. Yeah. But then in the feature race and the actual Grand Prix on Sunday, I mean, what can you say? I mean, getting second, P2. I mean, again, I know we had 2 safety cars, did we? Yeah, we had 2 safety cars. And even with 2 safety cars, I think Max finished about 13, 14 seconds ahead of Lando in second. So I think even with, you know, you take away the 2 safety cars, oh, Jesus, like, I mean, it's still a crushing number between first and second, regardless. But again, it puts the question mark over Sergio Perez, really, doesn't it, still?
Yeah, so I mean that's what I was about to say there. There was a +5 behind Lando. So that's a Red Bull. That's +5 seconds to this McLaren. It does very much put those questions in there. And, you know, let's talk about Perez. If Sainz is on the market, are Red Bull kind of going, look at the difference? Or could you prize a Lando away with a big enough fee?
Well, no, Lando's. I think Lando's happy at McLaren. And I'd be honest, I think Lando, at the end of the day, I think you'd want to be some arrogant fucker to go into Red Bull and think that you're going to beat Max Verstappen, like, you know, as a second driver.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing in Formula One. I mean, arrogance is something that's tends to stand Formula One drivers quite well. But if I was Lando Norris, would you gamble in the second seat at Red Bull and hope you win a world championship against Max Verstappen, or do you stay as the number 1 driver at McLaren, who are just constantly progressing? I mean, how long ago was it he signed that contract? Is it like 3 years ago or something like that? He signed that. Remember, he signed like an 8-year deal or something insane, like, or 5-year deal or something like that.
I think McLaren, as you say, McLaren and Lando just suit each other so well. It fits.
I think so. Well. It's like when Lewis Hamilton was there. Do you remember? And everyone was shocked when Hamilton left McLaren from Mercedes. Like, it was like Hamilton and McLaren was just sort of like, it was a made partnership, like, you know. But then again, it's the same with Mercedes and Hamilton now. It's like, you can't imagine now when Hamilton goes to Ferrari, it'll be odd, like, you know. They're like seeing your mom get a divorce and with another guy.
You had to go there, didn't you?
It's so weird.
Is there any consolation for Perez in that they're saying that the Red Bull car, and it's obviously quite true, the Red Bull car is made and set up for Max. Like, this car is built for him. Perez is just kind of
don't buy it, like,
adjusting. No, you don't think so?
No, I don't buy it. I'm sure it might in some sides of the development of the car, it might lean in favor of Max's ability, but I mean, that's up to Perez to adapt to that. He's there long enough now to adapt to that. I mean, you could look at, I mean, Piastri and Norris at McLaren. Like, I know there was a difference between them this weekend, but largely they're sort of on par in the same car. Leclerc and Sainz at Ferrari, largely on par in a similar car. Like, it's, I mean, if they've got a clear number 1 driver, I'm sure they're going to favor that driver's input when it comes to the development of a car, if they're going to win a world championship or maximize points. But at the same time, that is up to the number 2 driver to adapt to that. And that's why your class is one of the best in the world. And that's why you're there, because of your ability to adapt to situations. I mean, cars change from not just from season to season and not just from race to race, But from qualifying to race, or from free practice 1 to free practice 2, a car could completely change, and they have no idea why the car is completely different. And it's up to a good driver to adapt to that. And if Sergio Perez can't do that, or he's not able to keep even, like, I mean, no one's expecting him to beat Max Verstappen every week.
Yeah.
But to be there or thereabouts, like, and he's not. He never is, like, you know, or very rarely is.
Well, let's move away from all of the Red Bull.
Sorry, hang on a second, because I just realized I went around about the house. The point is, though, on whether they go for CarlosSainz or not, I think Audi have offered a huge contract on the table for CarlosSainz, and that's why Helmut Marko or something was saying that they would love to have Sainz at Red Bull, but they don't think they could match, or they wouldn't be able to match the figures that Audi have put forward. So it would be up to Sainz then, where would he want to go with a new project at Audi, or would he want to go for Red Bull? Now, I think he's a driver that should be able to adapt to that Red Bull and challenge Max Verstappen.
Interesting. So maybe a stay of execution if Carlos goes to Audi, if that offer is big enough for Sergio Perez. Moving on to the Ferraris, Dave. Interesting weekend. Didn't quite finish up where they would have hoped. I think they both made a place each. Was that down to tire management or their pit stops, or what was it this weekend for
I don't know, the car wasn't. Yeah, the car just wasn't there for them this weekend for a whole host of reasons. Like, but they just had a very non-eventful weekend. Like, you know, they were just. They were participants this weekend, if you know what I mean. They just they were there. They finished the race. They put in a few battles. I mean, the sprint race was a little bit of a battle there with Alonso and Sainz in the sprint race, and there was, you know, a few little battles as well in the feature race on the Sunday. But yeah, largely there was just nothing as expected. I think most people would have expected Ferrari to have been the second best team there, and clearly just wasn't the case at all. And I think if Piastri maybe hadn't got that damage, because he started dropping back, he wasn't. Now, to be fair, Piastri wasn't on the pace this weekend, but I think had he not got that damage from Ricciardo hitting the back of him thanks to Stroll, because they were saying that his diffuser was damaged as well. So I think maybe Piastri would have challenged the Ferraris as well for and kind of got further up the grid. So I think McLaren I think are certainly starting to outperform Ferrari. I mean, actually, let me just quickly check in the constructor stand. So, I mean, there's still a bit of a gap, though. Still 151 for Ferrari, 96 for McLaren.
Right.
So it is still a bit of a gap, but yeah, I don't know. They just they need to find a little bit more aggression in their approach, and understand. I mean, the tire degradation, I don't think really it was too much of an issue this weekend. Yeah. So, yeah, look, they were there. They were the third best team, really, on the day. That's all there was to it, I think.
CarlosSainz putting down to the race start, Charles Leclerc defending, or how aggressively he defended against him, apparently saying that was a big reason as to why they both finished where they did, that he felt that Leclerc was being a bit aggressive.
But isn't that nonsense of an excuse? Like, and that's terrible to hear from Sainz either. Like, sorry, Sainz said that, was it?
Yeah, Sainz.
Like, that's terrible to hear from Sainz, because like that you're talking about the opening lap.
Yeah,
you had another 50 odd laps to improve that. You're telling me the reason you finished where you were was because you lost 2 places at the start because you were battling with your teammate. That's nonsense. Like, absolute fucking horseshit. Like, no way.
Yeah, and Leclerc the day before giving out about Sainz defending against him, I think it was. Did Sainz somewhat run him off in the sprint?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, am I mixing up the sprint then and the feature? I remember, the two of them battling at the start. Was that the sprint race or the feature race? Now, I can't remember.
In both. So they did.
Oh, they did do it. Yeah.
In the race, but it was more aggressive. You could see it more in the sprint, I think, is because Leclerc went off slightly.
Yeah. Well, either way, like, I mean, the point is, like, you know, that if you're still only doing that in the opening lap, you've got plenty of opportunity to gain that. I mean, it's not like you could say, oh, we went out and we were back in, outside the top 10, or we both locked up and wrecked our tires and had to come in early, or nothing like that. They just went out. They lost 2 places, like, and they were still right behind the positions ahead. So yeah, that's no excuse for that. That's nothing. Yeah, bollocks to that.
Vasseur also coming out with a slight excuse, saying that they lost some ground on the hard tire. He felt that's where they lost ground, was on that last stint on the hards. Did they go to hards actually at the end? Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And so he was saying that the tire wasn't suited to the car this weekend.
Yeah, they went for a one stop. They went from a medium to a hard. So, and he was saying that's what he felt, that they lacked a certain amount of pace there to try and even get near the Perez and the Red Bulls.
Couldn't say though they had the pace on the mediums though either against McLaren.
Really.
Like I'd have to see the sector times and stuff, but I was, from what I could see, the McLarens or Norris and that had the pace over the Ferraris even on the mediums, I thought.
Yeah. George Russell in a Mercedes. I think we'll probably be talking more about Hamilton, to be honest, because George Russell was a bit of a just non-existent weekend for him. I don't think I even saw him once on the coverage.
He had I think didn't he stay out on the soft tires for a hell of a long time or something like that on the first stint, wasn't it? Did he go on softs at the start?
No, Russell was medium, hard. So he was on the mediums.
Hard. Okay, no, I just thought it was him that was hanging out on the tires longer than the rest of them. I'll be honest, I didn't pay attention to Russell's race this weekend. Like I said, I was kind of focused. I thought a lot of the action was happening either sort of the top end of the top 10 or the back end of the pack.
Yeah. It was possibly Hamilton you're thinking about. Maybe he started on the soft and then went to a medium and hard.
He had it. Yeah, no, I knew he started on the soft, but he had a train wreck. No, I just thought maybe he was on the mediums, but I think he hung it out longer because he was just he was holding out that position for quite some time. He was actually quite high up. I think early on in the race he was quite high up in the in the pecking order. But anyway, look, there's no point in me fucking shiting on about something I can't remember.
Yeah. for me, I just can't remember anything that happened to him, to be honest. It's just one of those weekends for him.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. But Hamilton, though, fucking that soft tire at the start did nothing for him. No. He had a great. Well, I you know, he had a bit of a shit weekend in total, but I mean, he had a good weekend on the sprint.
Yeah,
but I think that was the qualifying, the conditions sort of went in his favor a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You just have to be there and the ability to get the qualifying. So he got a good qualifying. But that car was never holding up Max Verstappen. So you could see that where that Mercedes was at. And you had 19 laps. To be fair, I'm surprised he even got second in that car. I thought when I saw him qualifying on pole, I was like, oh, this is the conditions. And if you get a dry race, he's going to get absolutely swallowed up. And he didn't. So, but when it came then to the qualifying for the main race, and then I think he got the gust of wind or something like that when he was doing his final run.
Yeah.
And he ended up then in P18 or something like that.
P18, yeah.
Started on the softs and went nowhere on them. Nowhere.
Yeah. But for a race that he started P19, he's after ending up, what? Where did he end up?
I think he finished ninth, didn't he?
Yeah, ninth with 2 points. I mean, that's not too bad.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, he salvaged it, but I don't know. Just the qualifying was shit, and then like I said, I'm not sure. Like, I saw one of the other what was it? What's his name? Ed Straw say about Hamilton's weekend, basically that he kind of ruined his chances of the win in the sprint race because of that lockup or whatever it was into that hairpin.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, or he went deep into it. Maybe it was the gust of wind or something, and he went deep into the hairpin. I'm like, I don't think he was going to hold that position regardless. Like, I think he was going to lose first place. I mean, I think he was losing that position anyway. Like, the people who were under the illusion that he was going to manage to hold off the Red Bull for 19 laps in that Mercedes, like, not happening. Like,
yeah, wasn't happening. And it you could probably easily make your way from, say, P19 or P18 to P9 in the Mercedes, but if you start in, say, P10, P11, I don't see him taking any sort of a chunk out of the top 10 really in that car.
No, not a chance. And like I said, I think as well, Hamilton seems getting into a bit of a strop this year when things aren't going well. He gets a bit stroppy, and you're kind of like, you're up against it already. So whereas George Russell, you can see like he's maybe a bit more focused. Obviously, he knows he's there next year. And and he kind of ekes a little bit more out of the car. Whereas Hamilton, when it's going wrong, it's really going wrong, and I don't think he has the focus or interest to try and gather it back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Not Lewis Hamilton, sorry, Fernando Alonso was said to have been hit with a 10-second penalty post qualifying, was it? But I didn't see that showing up on the.
No, I didn't see that either.
No, so it said there Fernando Alonso's penalty in the sprint race. So it was during the sprint race. So maybe does that carry over until next week or something?
No, it wouldn't.
It said it's left him halfway to a race ban for breaching the new guidelines he called crucial at the start of
you get 10 second when obviously I guess for the collision with Sainz where he got the puncture.
Yeah. But
there's a man that had a bad weekend.
Yeah, not great. Let's talk about Fernando. At the same time, he's just so exciting to watch. There's just every time he shows up in the screen, like, oh, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's brilliant, absolutely fantastic driver. But unfortunately, go on.
Yeah, no, he was just on Jesus, like I mean, he was over aggressive in the sprint, and as a result, that cost him. Rather than, I think he should have realized he was out of position in that Aston Martin anyway for that sprint race, and maybe he should have fought it, but not quite as hard as he did when he realized he was losing that place. Like, I mean, he literally ran Sainz off the road nearly, like, and caused a puncture.
Yeah,
and that's I think he lost out on possibly maybe 5th, 6th, maybe something like that in the sprint race, which is not great when you consider where he started. Didn't he start 3rd or something in the sprint race? Was it?
Yeah. So actually, what it's saying here is that he finished the race in the pits. So I think that meant that.
Well, it's classified as a DNF, I think.
Yeah. So that was imposed after the end of the sprint race. Be added to the time of the traffic side, so it was added to the sprint race time. So
okay, yeah,
doesn't really affect him at all.
Made no difference,
yeah.
So the the sprint race, he was over aggressive in the sprint race, and then on the feature race, and I just think they made the strategy calls for their tires and stuff like that were just all out of sync completely.
Terrible.
Yeah, even Nico Rosberg was calling it, and again, this is where Crofty was like, "Oh well, didn't they do a great job?" Blah 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 blah. blah. Trying to put a positive spin on a shit show, and Nico's just like, "What are you talking about? Like he's having a rubbish weekend." He's like, "But he's recovering it," and he's like, "No." He's like, he's trying to recover from he was in 3rd. Now he's back in 7th. Now he's pitting, and he's going to be back in like 13th or 14th.
Yeah, and
Crofty there trying to tell you he's having a fucking stellar weekend, fucking bullshit commentators.
Happening. Bad weekend all round, I think, for Aston Martin. Just terrible. Strategy was terrible. Everything was just bad for them.
It was great qualifying from Fernando for both the sprint and the feature race. Yeah. But he was just too aggressive in the sprint race, and then I think the team, I don't know, maybe Fernando Alonso had a say in the tire selection to start the race. Maybe, but I think they went over aggressive with the tire selection as well, and when they put on softs and what tires they were using at each stint, and it was too aggressive, and it didn't work in the slightest. That being said, the fact that he managed, I think 7th, did he?
He was 7th. Yeah, he's 7 in the end. Yeah.
So the fact that he finished 7th after coming out around 13th or 14th, with only I think 8-9 laps to go or something like that, or 10 laps to go, something like that. I think that's some sort of an achievement. They got points out of the weekend anyway. Yeah. But I think Aston need to reassess now before they go to Miami.
Yeah. Let's have just an honourable mention, Dave, I guess, for 2 people in particular. Nico Hülkenberg's the first one, and then Alpine. I think we should deserve a little bit of a mention. Go for Nico. I know you don't like Haas, or are you pro Haas now again? Or
no, I'm still anti Haas. Okay, but cool. I will have to say though, they provided some entertainment this weekend. As dirty as that makes me feel, they provided some entertainment this weekend. I mean, K-Mag, like I said, as I said at the start of the podcast there about his battle with Stroll, I thought that was absolutely fucking brilliant. Yeah. The fact that he took YukiTsunoda out, I'm not a YukiTsunoda fan, so that was brilliant.
Me too. It's class.
I could, I do. I won't say any more than that. And then Hulkenberg getting points. Yeah, well, it was just overall, it was a good weekend for Haas and fans watching Haas. Because it was just entertaining. Like so. So I'll give Haas a bit of credits this weekend.
Yeah, fair play to them. And Alpine, I heard, I don't know who it was commenting on this, but they said that Alpine had a decent race, and that they've been improving gradually over. Yeah, I know you're shaking your head there. Have been improving recently. I don't think I saw that, to be honest.
No, I didn't see that at all. I mean, I saw what they finished 11th and 13th after cars had crashed out, 2 safety cars.
Ocon apparently with a lightened chassis and some upgrades as well. Is that P11 some sign of something, or are they still?
I'm saying nothing until we see another race comparison, like, and we can kind of say, okay, if they finish 11th and 12th or 11th and 13th again in Miami or in that mid-pack kind of pushing for the points, then I might say, okay, they're making improvements now. They because they were back of the grid, like. So if they've gone from back of the grid to battling for the points on one upgrade, then that's a huge step. Yeah. But if we go to Miami and they're back at the back of the pack again, then that's so yeah. I'm the jury's still out on Alpine.
All right, stay of execution again for Alpine. All right, Dave. Will we? I think we can probably wrap it up there. I guess you could probably talk about a Panda helmet, but we'll leave that alone. It was just a helmet. Will we go for the driver of the day and loser of the day?
Yeah. Okay. Look at the driver of the day has to be Lando Norris. Yeah. I mean, there's just. I don't think there's anybody else out on the grid there that's going to take that. Who's your driver today?
Yeah, Lando. Can't be anyone else, really, in fairness. Yeah. And he got the actual driver of the day as well. So, yeah, no complaints there, I think. Yeah. Unanimous. Your dick of the day. We're going to rename it to Dick of the Day.
Oh, Dick of the Day. See, that's going to be different. Because if it's Dick of the Day, I'd be giving it probably to Lance Stroll. But if it's Loser of the Day, I'd be giving it to RB. Because both their cars got taken out. Yeah. And it wasn't either there. Like, Ricciardo got taken out by Stroll and Tsunoda got taken out by K-Mag. So both of them, I would say, would be loser of the day. But if we're throwing in a dick of the day as well, then I give it to Lance Stroll. Just, again, he plowed the back of fucking Daniel Ricciardo, who then plowed the back of Piastri. He wrecked two drivers' races. And then just drove off with his whole "it's daddy's team" fucking attitude.
You see what I mean? He has to do more every week because it's his daddy's team. I would agree. Probably RB. Yeah. Dick of the day is definitely Lance Stroll. I like Dick of the day. That's a good addition, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, so are we going to add that? Are we going to go drive of the day, losers of the day, and then Dick of the day?
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, let's keep that. All right, that's a good one.
RB agreed as well. We're unanimous in that decision as well. All right, Dave, will we get stuck into the predictions game?
Okay, so our predictions for China. I don't think I'm doing well. Oh, no, actually, I think I might have done a little bit better this week.
Yeah, I think you did actually okay. I have to open it here as well. Go on.
All right, so I went with Max P1. That is what we got. I went Sainz P2. That did not happen. I went Perez P3. So that's 2 points in the bag for me.
Yeah. I went with, as I tried to stall for a few seconds while I open it up.
Do you want to call yours out?
No, I've got it. So I've got Max P1, which happened, Perez P2, and Sainz P3, which did not happen.
Ooh, and then Isidro was copying homework, but then made his fucking last minute changes. So he went with Max P1, which happened. Perez P2, which didn't, and then last ditch change to Norris P3.
Just the wrong way around.
Yeah,
man,
that's what he gets for not being here today.
Stupid dick.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go for your flip and flop?
All right. So my flop, Yuki outside the top 10. Why did I go DNF?
Yeah, doesn't count.
0. You.
I went the exact same way.
Yeah.
So no points for me.
And Isidro went with a Hamilton DNF, which
could have happened.
It could have happened. Yeah, it could have very easily happened. I went for Big Air, and that did not happen. I went for Joe top 10 finish. Yeah, that was a 0.
So I went 4. He says as he's opening up the race results.
Oh, sorry, this is the
C.
surprise. Obviously, sorry, this is our surprise of the day.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. So I went for Albon inside the top 10. Did I?
You did,
and Albon finished 12th. Oh god damn it!
Oh, and I got to sneeze.
Oh, beautiful.
Edit it out.
It's staying in.
Yeah.
And then Zedro.
Zedro went. YukiTsunoda, top 10. He was too cocky about that. Do you remember? He was like top 10. It wasn't even like because we wouldn't. Or sorry, he went top 8. Sorry, he didn't even go top 10.
Yeah,
he went top 8 because we wouldn't give him the top 10. Yeah,
Jesus.
But that means that is the first one I think I've won this season.
Yeah. So you went.
That gives me 2 points.
2. And myself. Did myself and Isidro get a point each?
You did get a point each. Yeah. So that means you're still at the top on 8, Isidro in second on 6, and I'm only on 4. Let me check. Is fucking Isidro's Excel calculations working correctly here?
Oh my god, it's right. Yeah.
2, 3, 4. Yeah, jeez, I'm only on 4 points.
You're going to have to rescue this now this week.
I'm the Alpine of
next
the
week. Sorry.
All right. Okay. Miami GP. I haven't prepared anything. I'm doing this every week now. I'm not preparing anything. I'm just going to do it on the fly every week. I'm just that's what I've been doing all season.
Oh,
I haven't prepared any results all season. I've just been guessing on the fly.
And how's that going for you so far?
It's given me 4 points, and I won. And I won this week.
On the up, I guess. Then on the up.
All right. I mean, I have to go with Max. It'd be fucking ludicrous not to hedge your bets on Max winning. I am gonna go with. It's between Sainz and Norris. I think I'm gonna go Sainz P2.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with Norris P3.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's the thought process there?
I just think it'll be a circuit that'll favor both of those drivers and I think it will favor the McLaren more. Oh yeah, in that sense, should I put it'll favor the McLaren more, but I just think Sainz could be more aggressive and could take that second place. That's why I put Sainz ahead of Norris, even though I think Norris will be in the better car. I think Sainz will come out as the better driver that weekend.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to regret that. All right.
Well, I'm going to go Max P1.
Yeah.
I'm going to
big
go
air today.
No, I'm going to play safe, I think. I'm going to go Perez P2 and Leclerc P3.
God, such a boring top 3.
I know. But I just think it's due a really boring race finish. Oh. You know what I mean? I think Leclerc deserves a finish. Although, his qualifying has been shite. Oh, I don't know.
Who did Isidro go with? Actually, I don't have Isidro's here.
I'll get it now for you.
Let me bring up the...
He went for Max P1, Perez P2, and a Sainz P3. Sainz instead of Leclerc. So similar enough to mine.
I just don't think Perez is going to do good.
Yeah.
I just think it's a 2.
It's hard not to bet on him, though. He's in a Red Bull.
I know, but I mean... Yeah, I mean, yeah. Fuck, I don't know. All right, my flop. Jesus. I have a few that I could pick from here.
Yeah, there's a good list there this week.
Now, am I going to go with an outside the top 10 and just play it safe, or am I going to go for a DNF? I think I might go a DNF.
Oh, right.
I love it how fucking
it's nice
gamble on a DNF.
Yeah, it's nice when they come off, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm going to go with... I just see drama at this. I don't know why. I just have it in my head. There's going to be fucking drama at this race.
Was there a crash there last year? I remember there was a Gasly and Lando at the year before. But I don't remember last year's one.
No, not so much. Too busy looking at that fake marina. I am gonna go. Who the fuck is there that I can? Do you know what? I'm gonna. Oh fuck. Maybe this is the moments where I kind of like I wish I prepared, but it's kind of more fun just fucking trying to fucking figure it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm either gonna go with Tsunoda Perez or Ocon as a DNF. They're my three.
Okay.
I'm going, like all three of those could happen.
Yeah, it's possible.
Probably Perez is the least likely.
Yeah, not going
to
happen.
So Ocon or Tsunoda. Tsunoda needs to pull the thumb out, so maybe he would be less likely.
And Ocon had a decent performance this week.
So maybe he might be overcome. I'm going to go an Ocon DNF.
Yeah, I think that's wise.
Yeah.
I am going to go. My flop is I'm going to play it nice and safe. Hulkenberg outside of the top 10.
Oh, for fuck's sake, you two! And I'm going to say the fucking Pedro has the exact same.
No, he doesn't actually. He's a pretty good one actually this week. He's going big air.
All right, in a second. Let me write in your fucking drivel. All right, who's the Zedro got? Come on, give us some excitement.
Zedro has Hamilton DNF.
Oh,
yeah,
it's a DNF. Fair
it's an
play,
interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that. You should be banned, Joe. We should be banned from picking the top 10 finisher outside the top 10.
A regular top 10 finisher.
No, like, I mean, if someone has just fucking managed to scrape their hole into the top 10.
I.e., you mean Hulkenberg, fuck off.
Yeah, we shouldn't be allowed to pick them as an outside the top 10. We have to do update the rule book for 2020. Yeah.
No, this is a game of chess. You can either go for big air or not, or play.
Yeah, but
it
I'm
safe
not
and
getting
be
any
boring.
extra points for the big air.
Yeah, I know. That's your choice, though.
You're just ruining the show.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. and could I just say that I think Isidro is actually better at this when he's not here. That's a good shout. Like, usually he's just copying my homework.
Oh, that's true as well, yeah.
So, yeah, maybe we'll have to... Maybe Isidro can just hop out after the normal podcast in future.
Yeah.
Right. Your
right,
surprise, Dave.
My surprise is... Do you know what? This isn't who I was going to go with. But I'm going to go with it now just so that I can fucking have a fucking... and I should be allowed to do this, even though he was in the top 10, because you voted him for being... You've already set a precedent that you're saying that he's going to be outside the top 10 next week. So I should be able to put in Hulkenberg to be inside the top 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Even though he finished top 10 this week, but you've already set a precedent that he's going to finish outside the top 10. So I should be allowed to put in that he's going to finish inside the top 10.
That's an interesting little twist to it. I like that. Yeah, that's good.
So I'm going Hulkenberg, top 10 finish. And I fucking hope to God he just scrapes it by the fucking smallest of margins.
That'd be hilarious. Okay, let's see if you accept this one. Could I say that we'll see an appearance of Paris Hilton at the Miami GP? Would that be a surprise?
That's not going to be a surprise.
Okay, then my surprise is going to be Albon inside the top 10.
That's a big shout, because that car hasn't been as good on the straight line speed as it normally is, and I think Miami's a fairly fast track, so
that's a big shout, that one. I don't think it's a chance of coming off, to be honest.
Yeah, okay, that's Albon top 10. And what did our Portuguese wonder go with?
He went for an infuriating one. He went for Tsunoda inside the top 10.
I hope he fucking loses.
Yeah.
Tsunoda top 10 finish.
Gross.
Yeah, that's fucking stink. All right, well, that's it. That wraps up our podcast for the Chinese Grand Prix. We will be back in, is it 2 weeks then, for the Miami Grand Prix?
It is.
And we shall see whether Hulkenberg manages to squeak his arsehole inside the top 10 and get me some points. I need some points. We'll see you in Miami.